Hey everyone, happy Memorial Day and welcome to another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So a little bit of a short day for me here. It's about a little after 4 in the afternoon here and I'm going to be heading home pretty soon, spend some time with the family, all that good stuff. But I did manage to get a few things done today. So let's talk about this one first. I think I may have found where this slight amount of oil leak was coming from around the pulley. Here, let's actually open this up and talk about it. So this motor uses a press-in sand seal. So unlike other types of sand seals where the case is actually machined in here, and then the sand seal itself, which is basically just a seal like this, gets sandwiched between the two case halves. On this type, it is, or it gets sort of shoved in this way. On this type, there's actually this aluminum adapter that you see here, and then the seal sits in it. And then basically what it does is, because it adds some extra length here, there's a spacer that goes in there that moves out the crank pulley a little ways to account for this thickness. And then you kind of shim out the generator or alternator pulley to kind of match that. Anyway, so this was kind of like my last thing that I thought could be going on as far as like where this oil was coming from. Definitely is coming from the, seemed to be coming from the pulley. And so those of you that are watching know that we had a lot of excess oil coming out of here. I installed a breather box and that got rid of almost all of it, but not quite all of it, excuse me. And so I thought, okay, well, it's possible that the seal on here is bad or whatever. I mean, this is pretty much down to the last thing to check. And so I managed to get this assembly out. Again, this aluminum piece here, this housing, which extends into the case by, I don't know, probably not quite half an inch. And then again, the seal sits in it. So I noticed, pulled the pulley first, obviously, and then started, basically like working this assembly out. And at some point I noticed that the seal was like moving a little bit in there. And I don't think, and I didn't notice at the time, but I don't think it was put in all the way, which it should be. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. It should be pretty much flush. So I'm talking about this seal and how deep it's inside of the housing here. It should be pretty much flush. I don't think it was quite flush. And so I got it all out, and again, kind of noticed this was moving around. And then when I pulled it out, I noticed this. And so you can definitely tell that this has been moving inside of the little housing here for it. You see that shiny area there? And it doesn't quite go all the way around. So to me, it looks like this thing was not really fully seated inside of its little adapter housing here. And then also that it may have been kind of looser on this side where you don't see that same wear pattern than it was on this side. So pretty sure that the leak was actually happening not between the pulley and the seal, but between the seal and its housing. So I got a new seal for it, and I put some 1211 sealant, which is this white stuff that we use. I put that in the housing first, and then I pressed the seal into it. So that should form a really good seal between the seal and the housing. And then, of course, applied another layer of the 1211 to outside of this adapter, and then press the whole thing into the case. And so just to be safe, I'm just letting this stuff sit and dry overnight, and then I'll go ahead and lubricate the new pulley with a little bearing grease or whatever, or excuse me, lubricate the new seal here, just smear a little bearing grease or whatever on the snout of the pulley, shove that in, reassemble the thing, and then go for that same test drive that I've gone on, which has been able to get that oil spray to happen here, and hope that that takes care of it. If that's not it, then I'm pretty much at my wit's end, but I think that's going to do it. Again, the fact that I could see that this had been moving in there, and the fact that it didn't really seem to be all that tight in there, and maybe wasn't even in 100% all the way. So we'll see, but that was how I kind of started off my day there, or here rather. Okay, so that's this guy. So again, just gonna let that sit. Here's what the pulley looks like, by the way. So the pulley just has this machined surface here that this seals on, and then it can kind of spin in there. See, this is a nice tight fit. I'm pretty hard pressed to believe that it would have been leaking in here, and I didn't really see any damage on the lip on this thing, so pretty sure again it was between this thing and that housing, but we'll find out tomorrow, I guess. So that's that. On the double cab, I decided to go ahead and just take care of some of those details that I was talking about. Just kind of in the mood to do those sorts of things. So lots of little details today. Put in these little plugs that fill in the holes in the back of the body. So again, there's 2 here at about the level of the reverse lights. And then there's a couple more down here near the bottom of the apron. So I go ahead and went ahead and put those in. You know, normally that would be about a 20-second job to put all 4 of those in, but this one had, I guess when the body work and stuff was done, this hole was like probably a third of the way closed off with like body filler or something. So I had to kind of carefully go in there and remove that body filler from the hole that this thing plugs into, and then get it in there. So, you know, even things that are seemingly simple and again should take seconds or a minute sometimes end up being, you know, like a 10-minute job or more, just because you got to be careful, especially in a beautifully painted car like this. You don't want to just start gouging in there and chip the paint or whatever. So on that same vein, I went ahead and put the door on for the fuel filler, and likewise, these 2 holes here both had some filler in them, so not a big deal to clean that out. But then, so you can see this part back here. This is the actual like hinge of the door filler, and so the body, which is, you can see the edge of the body right here, it had filler on this side of it, which was preventing this hinge from laying flat on here. So again, I had to get in there with you know, like an X-Acto knife and kind of carefully scrape that body filler off around both of these holes from the inside here, while being careful not to gouge anything up. And then the door didn't really fit that well. It was hitting the body, and you know, had to kind of manhandle the hinge a little bit to get it to close, but closed as well now. Looks good. So again, something that could have been, you know, a 3 to 5 minute job. I probably spent, I don't know, half an hour plus on it, just getting it to fit right and making sure it wasn't going to gouge the paint all up. So got that on. A couple things on the inside of the car here. I put the boot on the bottom of the emergency brake. That goes pretty easy. The only thing is you have to disconnect this linkage up here where it attaches to this rod, detach all that, and then the boot just slides down this rod and put all that back together. So that was actually easy, and I didn't have to scrape any body filler. So that was cool. So that went right on. And what else? I put the dome light in, and it's working nice. And what else? I think the last thing worth mentioning that I did, as far as, you know, these little details that are left on here, is I did put on the stoppers for the back seat. So that's these rubber plugs here. They kind of look like the rubber pads on the bottom of a chair. Anyway, so those went on. And I did take this car for a little bit longer test drive today, and we got maybe a little gremlin in the fuel injection system. It runs really well. However, the throttle position sensor, sometimes when you let the throttle off, that value should read 0. 0 is no throttle, basically idle. And for some reason, when you would drive it for a while, sometimes that value would sit at exactly 8.6, which is a little weird. And I double checked, the linkage wasn't getting stuck. So the motor itself, the throttle bodies are definitely going back to fully closed, but somehow the throttle position sensor is thinking that it's at 8.6, and I think it might actually be thinking that it's at negative 8.6, but it doesn't display a negative sign. Because the weird thing is if you start slowly like pressing on the throttle, it'll go from 8.6. It's like it goes down to 0. And then as you keep pushing it, then it goes like positive again, more and more and more and more as you push it. So I did talk to AJ about it, and there is a kind of like a modern car. This EFI system stores fault codes, and it does have a fault code for the throttle position sensor. So there's something there that it's not terribly happy about. So we will either replace the sensor if that's what need be, or we'll have to do some more troubleshooting. But yeah, other than that, I mean, I think it's a relatively minor thing. I think it's going to be pretty easy to solve. Other than that, this thing drives so good and runs so good. This motor is very strong. It's a really good match to this bus. This thing pulls like a freight train here. And I mean, I haven't been getting on it that hard because, I'm still trying to get the system to learn the values and stuff like that. But holy cow, I can't stress enough how good this thing runs. This is actually my first time driving a fuel injected V-dub, and fuel injected air cooled V-dub, at least anyway. I'm very impressed. This thing runs amazing, and I really like it. And now I'm even like toying with the idea of maybe converting my red car, the race car, someday, no time soon. It's all in pieces now anyway. But yeah, this thing runs awesome. Little gremlin to work out with the throttle position sensor, but not too concerned about that. And so that's it for today, guys. So again, a little bit of a short day. Hope everyone's having a good Memorial Day, and we'll be back to business as usual tomorrow, Tuesday. So thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.